Hi everyone, it's Lori and welcome to the channel. In today's episode, you are joining me here in my studio for an artistic edit. So I just shot my first butterfly image of this season and I captured it really far away in the garden and there was a lot of distractions. And so I want to show you today how I'm going to address that with my editing. So let's jump in and join me here in my studio. All right, so for this image, I think my instant reaction is I want to take the image into Topaz Studio 2. I chose Topaz because I want to add some blur and I want to add some creative elements. And I think that doing it in Topaz will be the best option. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, if you're not familiar with Topaz Studio 2, it's a plugin that works with Lightroom or Photoshop. It also is a standalone editing program. So I'm going to select Edit in Topaz Studio 2. Now it will make a copy of the image and it's going to bring it right in for us. Now Topaz has some very creative elements. It also has some blur tools and some basic edits as well. So it's going to prepare the file and then once it opens, my vision is just to add some blur. I think, I could try to do some other things in Photoshop, but I think I'm just going to work with the garden scene but enhance it so that our butterfly stands out a little bit. All right, so we're here in Topaz. The first thing I want to do is go to Add Filter, and let's start with a focal blur. Now I want to bring this over to the center of my butterfly because that is the focus. I'm going to enlarge it a little bit, that focal blur, and then we can just increase our blur. Now I don't want it to be, fake, so I'm going to keep the transition pretty smooth. And I think that looks pretty nice. Maybe make it just a little bit bigger, almost like I used a creative lens. And we've got a little blur on the edge of the butterfly, but I think that's okay. And so we will close out of that. And yeah, I like that so far. Now, I still feel like my butterfly is not standing out against the rest of the image. So let's go to Add Filter and let's do a vignette. And what I want to do is I want to move the vignette center so that my butterfly is more, is where the center of the vignette is. And I'm going to increase the strength. And I think the transition, let's keep it round. All right, so that's pretty good. Let's move this over just a little bit. Now, what's great here in Topaz is I can grab the mask tool with the brush. I'm going to make sure I'm all the way on black, and I want to remove that from this edge of the shot. I don't want the vignette there. And I think for some reason the focal blur moved. It did. Sometimes that happens in Topaz, so I'm going to move it back. And now let's go back to our vignette. I'm going to make sure the strength of the vignette is high. Yeah, I like that, just adding that kind of darkness around the edge and continuing to remove some of that busyness that's in the scene. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is go ahead and let's go look at our filters again. And I think what we'll do is let's go ahead and add a look. And I'm going to go to my favorites and I want to add a fur and feathers. Now, for some reason, our there we go. It's still coming up, but we're gonna work with it. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of fur and feathers there and click apply. Now it did add it to the entire image. So what I'm gonna do is drag the fur and feathers down below. So let's minimize that. And what I wanna do is bring it down below. And again, our focal blur, I don't know why it's having a hard time. I'm going to hit enter and see. There we go. get that to go away. So now we've got our fur and feathers. If I show you, let me zoom in on the butterfly. There you go, before and after so far. So that's what we've done so far. So it's definitely enhancing our butterfly. I still want to make a pop a little bit more. So I'm going to add another filter. Let's do a glow. And I'm going to add the glow. Now you can see what it does. I'm going to take it up, but then I'm going to remove the opacity. So I'm going to reduce the opacity to bring back the details. So just bringing that down to make that stand out. All right. And then the next thing that I want to do is I do want to add some additional color. So I'm going to do a color overlay and I want to select the color. So I'm going to grab the dropper and I want to select the peach color that's in the image. Click OK. And now I'm going to bring down that opacity. Just want to give it a little bit of that peach tone. Now we can mask it off our subject. So I'm going to grab my brush. And again, I'm just going to come in and mask a little bit of that off. Not too much, but just a little bit to bring back a little bit of that detail. And if you want to make it a little more natural, I'm going to take it at about 50% and just bring that around. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and click accept. And we're going to take the image back into Lightroom and then I will make some final tweaks to it. So this was our before. And again, I decided to leave the busyness of the background and just add some blurs, some different techniques to really enhance it and bring out the details of the butterfly and give it a little creative look. So now I'm going to go back to develop and I want to add a vignette, which will bring that emphasis around the entire butterfly a little bit more. Let me make this larger so you can see. And then I still want to take the brush tool. I'm going to select subject now. Let's see if it selects our butterfly. Did okay. I'm just going to give it a little pop. There we go. Just a little pop of exposure and maybe a little bit of saturation, just enhancing it a little bit. Maybe just a little bit more exposure, and there we go. So this is before when we had it in Topaz now, and then this was our, I'm going to get back to our original image. This was our original image. So from there to here. So a very artistic, different look. And I could come in if I want to brighten the entire exposure just a little bit. I can do that. I do like that vignette. Let's go back to the basic. Maybe we want to pop a little bit on the whole image. And we could also play with our white balance. I like that golden glow, but maybe come down and I'm going to reduce the yellow just a little bit and give it a little bit more of that bright green and pop the orange tones. And I still feel like I'm going to go back and do select subject one more time. Yeah, I don't want it overly bright. I think I'm going to bring that back. Let's try opening up the whites just a little and then the saturation. There we go. So just some final tweaks there. All right, everybody. So that was a creative edit here in my studio today. Thanks so much for watching. Please click like and subscribe.